Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. So today we are continuing our series where we are trying to land on every planet and moon possible. So for those who may have missed my last episode, last time we developed a rocket that was capable of reaching full Kerbal orbit, and we also made a plane just for general use around the planet itself. But today we are setting our sights a little bit higher, alright? Today I want to try to make it to the moon. Now before we do that though, I'm going to try to not get too carried away. First, we need to do a quick flyby of the moon, mainly because there is actually a contract that gives us quite a bit of money and we can get science just for orbiting the moon itself. And as you can see here, I am developing a brand new rocket, in design but not by name. As a lot of you OGs of the channel may know, the Redline is my staple moon rocket, though this time it's gonna be looking a little bit different. I've decided to continue the trend of using multiple smaller engines instead of using one big engine. But as some of you may have already noticed, I've unlocked a few new parts since my last video, and I have actually been doing a little bit of grinding off camera, and I wanted to just go do a quick overview. So I've done probably around in the ballpark of 6 contracts off of camera. There's only a couple of interests that I wanted to show. This one was just ferrying some tourists into orbit. Had to get a little bit of creative with this heat shield design here. There's these heat radiators. I'm pretty sure they're modded parts, correct me if I'm wrong, but they did quite a good job. And we also used our space plane, did a little bit of modifications since the last episode, because we need to go a little bit higher up in the atmosphere and take a few surveys of probably around 6 different areas, because I did a couple contracts for those, and that allowed me to upgrade the VAB and our tracking station. Also, in case some of you guys don't know, you can actually get signs from these contracts, so that's how I was able to get enough for these fairings here. But anyways, it was finally time to launch the Redline rocket. So some of you more astute Kerbal Space Program players may have already noticed a problem with this craft, and that's the fact that it's really top heavy, so this thing was really hard to control. Now you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but usually you want your center of mass to be, closer to your engines, because that's where all of your control comes from. Mine was probably somewhere near the middle, which, yes, I probably would have been perfectly fine with this, but I really just couldn't get a good gravity turn. Even with these fins, I thought I could kind of get away with it, but it just wasn't working out very well for me. Also, yes, I finally did install the volumetric clouds mod by request. This mod is absolutely insane. Like, this just looks beautiful. I would have never guessed. Like, this looks better than real life, man. Like, come on. It's beautiful. Anyways, but yeah, I wasn't really happy with this rocket. Not only because of control, but also because I wanted a little bit more delta V with this. So I thought I could kind of knock out both of my problems at once with just strapping a couple of these solid rocket boosters on either side. But yeah, with that, I was pretty happy, and yeah, for the first time in 5 years, the Redline flies again.
Whoa, 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 hey, 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 hey!
Alright guys, with our moon flyby complete, I decided to do pretty much the exact same thing again, except we're going to be going into the moon's orbit this time. There is also another contract for this, but really my main reason was actually just the science. I'm going to skip through most of this, because you've already seen this rocket launch already. But some of you probably noticed that I am not using MechJeb. For those who don't know, MechJeb is pretty much like your ultimate quality of life mod for Kerbal Space Program. It's kind of like an autopilot mode. You can pretty much just set MechJeb to go anywhere in the solar system, and if your rocket is designed well enough and has enough fuel, you can pretty much just let it do everything for you without a single key press. It's super helpful, but that is actually kind of the reason why I'm not using it, because with all of my time with Kerbal Space Program, you know, I probably don't even have 25 hours in this game. That's probably even pushing it, saying that. I've actually never really learned how to do transfer windows, that type of thing. Now, I can do, you know, the Moon and Minimus and Duna, but that is about the limit of my abilities. Anything other than that, it's pretty difficult for me. But yeah, hopefully this is just kind of the main appeal that I'm going for with this series, is just to see somebody who's kind of a noob at this game just kind of show off their learning process. But anyways, as you can see, we got quite a bit of science. We can finally get probes and electrical unlocked. Those are going to be pretty massive. And there was one really big revelation that I had while orbiting the moon, and that was we were still getting signal on the opposite end of the moon. Now you might see that one bar and say, hey, that's really bad still, what are you talking about? But keep in mind that we don't have any like communitrons, any type of relay dishes on our craft. So hey, that tells me if we do, then we're probably gonna get full signal and we don't have to send up relay satellites if we want to send probes to the moon. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're gonna send up a few probes to the moon and collect some science. Now you might be asking, what is the appeal of sending up probes, and that is that you don't have to do a full round trip, for one thing, and yeah, you also don't have to risk Kerbal life, so that's a pretty big selling point, I would say. But there is a slight payoff, and that's when you do collect science and relay it, you do lose a percentage of it. I think it's around like 30%. It depends on how much signal strength you have and the experiment itself. But also great news is we can still use the same launch platform. We still easily had way more fuel than we needed to orbit it, so we can definitely do a landing quite easily, and this is a smaller craft. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that we could actually do a manned landing on the moon with this craft. It might need some small modifications. Now, I probably will make a new craft for a manned moon landing because I want to send 2 Kerbals instead of 1, but it does have that capability. The Redline is a great craft. But as we've already launched this craft before, I'm not really going to show too much, but yeah, you didn't see that. I'm sure it'll be fine. And that's touchdown. So thankfully, the probe landed completely fine with no problems. Didn't have to reload the game a single time, and I decided to do all my science, realizing I made kind of a small mistake. As you are about to see, I tried uploading some of the science, and I didn't notice it on this probe at first. I didn't actually have enough electric charge to upload the science back to the KSC, but don't worry quite yet, I know a solution. Just be patient. First, we have to launch just one more probe. Now, you may be wondering, hey, why are you sending in a second probe if you already sent a different one? What's even the point? Now, my answer to that would be there's actually multiple biomes on the moon, just like there is on the Earth, that you can get unique science on each and every one of them, so it's actually quite worth it to just send multiple probes, which I decided to do. And you know, this time you would expect, hey, this is gonna be a nice smooth landing just like last time, alright? By the way, we went to the eastern crater. It's gonna be a nice, smooth landing, nothing wrong could ever happen. We're experienced now. Well, let me tell ya, that ain't what happened, alright? Yeah, well, pretty much as soon as I landed, I fell right over, and I'm pretty sure it was because I didn't have my damper and spring strength settings set correctly. So I have a couple of signature moves to get out of this situation. The first move that I tried was the schizophrenic stroke method, which is frantically rolling on the ground until you somehow make it upright. Unfortunately, that method did not work, but I had one more trick up my sleeve. This one is called the cradle method, which just involves rocking back and forth rapidly until you're face up, and hey, this time it worked, so it's totally realistic. This would totally happen in real life. I don't want to hear anything about it. Yeah. So remember how earlier we were talking about I didn't have enough electrical charge to transmit my data? So this is the solution. You just have to click here and you set it to require transmit, and pretty much as soon as it forces the craft to send the data as soon as you get a little bit of electrical charge from these solar panels. It takes forever, but it's better than nothing. Now, I don't know if you lose a little bit of science from this method. I'm assuming you do, but a little bit's better than none, so hey, I can't complain. And before you ask, yes, I did this for both crafts. I did not forget. But ladies and gentlemen, that's about all the time I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Next video, we are going to be going to the moon and Minimus, both manned. And yeah, maybe we'll send up some satellites to Duna. You know, maybe we'll see what happens. I'm really having a lot of fun with this game. So yeah, we also got like 300 science, so that was pretty cool. Very cool. Yeah. Anyways, you guys have a good one, and I will see you in the next one.